Have you ever wondered why we say things like raining cats and dogs or kick the bucket? Well, it turns out many of these common English phrases and idioms have some seriously interesting and surprising origins. Join Facts vs. History as we present the real historical origins of popular phrases you still hear today. Turn a blind eye. The saying turn a blind eye has its origins in a historical naval incident in 1801 during the Battle of Copenhagen. This phrase is commonly attributed to British naval hero Admiral Horatio Nelson, who at the time was tasked with leading a British fleet against a combined Danish-Norwegian fleet in Copenhagen's harbor. During the intense naval engagement, the British forces were facing fierce resistance from the Danish and Norwegian fleet, which was well protected by a line of sunken ships and formidable fortifications. The battle was fierce and difficult for the British, and it's said Nelson's superior officer, Admiral Sir Hyde Parker, signaled him to withdraw the fleet. The situation seemed dire, and victory was far from certain. Legend has it Nelson, known for his bold and decisive nature, faced a moral dilemma. Instead of heeding the order to retreat, Nelson, who had lost the sight in one eye during an earlier battle, raised his telescope to his blind eye and famously exclaimed, "I really do not see the signal." He then continued with the attack, pressing the British fleet forward to a resounding victory. Nelson's refusal to acknowledge the order to retreat and his clever act of, quote, turning a blind eye to the signal demonstrated his determination to win and showed the extent of his commitment to the fight. He became a national hero for his tactical brilliance and courage. And over time, the phrase turn a blind eye became a common idiom in English, signifying the act of deliberately ignoring or refusing to acknowledge something, usually out of convenience, self-interest, or willful ignorance. Running amok. Running amok is a phrase with origins in Southeast Asia, particularly in the Malay culture. It describes a state of uncontrollable and violent behavior, often resulting in a killing spree. The phenomenon was traditionally associated with a psychological condition known as amok syndrome, in which a person would experience a sudden and intense outburst of rage or aggression, leading them to attack others indiscriminately. Historical records suggest that cases of individuals running amok date back to the 16th century and were more prevalent in Malay society. The concept of running amok has since been recognized in other cultures and has found its way into the English language as a term for any uncontrolled or frenzied behavior. Paint the town red. The saying paint the town red has a colorful origin that dates to the 19th century, to the town of Melton Mowbray in Leicestershire, England. The phrase is believed to have originated during a night of raucous celebration and mischief in 1837. As the story goes, a group of aristocrats, including the Marquis of Waterford, visited Melton Mowbray for the annual hunt meet, a prestigious fox hunting event. After a day of hunting, the group decided to indulge in a night of heavy drinking and revelry. As the night progressed, the merrymaking escalated, and the Marquis and companions allegedly went on a spree of drunken vandalism and mischief. According to the accounts, the Marquis of Waterford and his cohorts went through the town, painting doors, windows, and even some buildings red with a combination of red paint and mud. They caused a riotous scene and left a trail of crimson marks throughout the town. This wild and mischievous act gave rise to the saying, paint the town red, which came to symbolize an evening of uninhibited partying, extravagance, and reckless behavior. By and large. The saying by and large has its origins in maritime terminology and dates back to the early days of sailing ships. It's derived from two nautical terms, by and large, which were used to describe specific sailing techniques and directions. In sailing, by refers to sailing a ship as close to the wind as possible, which means sailing in a direction that is nearly into the wind's eye. This is known as sailing by the wind or close-hauled. On the other hand, large refers to sailing with the wind coming from behind the ship, allowing the sails to be fully filled with wind. This was known as sailing large or running before the wind. During the age of sail, sailors needed to navigate their ships effectively, adjusting their course according to the wind's direction to reach their destinations. Sometimes they needed to sail close to the wind, by, and other times with the wind from behind, large, depending on their goals, weather conditions, and the direction of their destination. The phrase by and large came into common usage among sailors to denote a comprehensive approach to navigation, combining both sailing methods. It's implied that a ship's course would be determined by considering all factors and making adjustments as necessary, blending both close-hauled and running downwind sailing techniques. Over time, the expression expanded beyond maritime contexts and found its way into everyday language, being used to signify a comprehensive overall approach to a situation, considering all factors involved. Today, it's used as an idiom to convey a general observation indicating the statement holds true in most cases, but may have some exceptions. Run-of-the-mill. The saying run-of-the-mill has its origins in the world of manufacturing and milling, specifically grain milling. In a traditional grain mill, such as a grist mill, grain would be ground into flour between large stones. The process involved feeding the grain between the rotating stones, where it would be crushed and ground into fine powder. But not all grains were of the same quality or consistency. Some were of higher and yielded better flour, while others were of lesser quality and produced coarser, less desirable flour. The output of the milling process depended on the quality of the grain being used. When the mill was processing the usual, average, or ordinary grain, neither exceptionally good nor terribly bad, it was described as a run-of-the-mill product. In this context, run refers to a single milling operation, and the mill is the milling facility. So run-of-the-mill essentially meant the average or typical output of the milling process. These days, it conveys the idea of something ordinary, average, or commonplace. Go bananas. The saying "go bananas" originated in the U.S. during the early 20th century and is rooted in the world of vaudeville and burlesque theater. One of the common features of these performances was the use of various props and gimmicks to elicit laughter. One such prop was a bunch of bananas. Comedians would often use bananas in their acts to create humorous situations. As the story goes, when a performer used bananas on stage, it would often lead to exaggerated and over-the-top reactions from the audience. The sight of someone slipping on a banana peel or engaging in silly or chaotic behavior involving bananas was perceived as uproariously funny. Over time, the phrase "go bananas" became associated with the idea of going wild, acting foolish, or becoming overly excited with enthusiasm. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. In ancient times, horses were highly valued and played a crucial role in various aspects of society, like transportation, agriculture, and warfare. When buying or trading horses, their age, health, and overall condition were essential factors in determining their value and suitability for the intended purpose. One way to assess a horse's age was to inspect its teeth, as younger horses have distinct dental characteristics that change with age. During gift-giving or horse trading occasions, it was customary to present someone with a horse as a gesture of goodwill, gratitude, or diplomacy. And if someone gifted you a horse, it was considered impolite or ungrateful to immediately inspect the horse's mouth to assess its age or condition. That implied you were doubting the sincerity of the gift or were more concerned about the horse's value than the gesture itself. The phrase "don't look a gift horse in the mouth" emerged as a proverbial expression advising against scrutinizing or questioning the value of a gift, especially when given with good intentions. Now it's time to hear from you. Which of these stories was most surprising? Let us know in the comments section below.